Hello and welcome back to Fireside Improv. This is chapter 30 of this Karl Franz saga, where the Emperor is seeking to go across the channel up into Norska, launch that second expedition to start to stabilize this northern part of the Empire that simply won't be at peace until Norska is dealt with. Throughout the rest of the Empire, there is some peace until we get to Kislev, that is in utter ruin. Archaon, the Ever-Chosen, has joined the forces to raze everything to the ground. The Skaven fortress known as Hellpit is sending legions of ratmen across the lands, bringing corruption that will have to be dealt with by the Emperor if he wants peace.
Men, I will fight with you.
The Emperor is trying to consolidate his forces to make it a little bit more likely that he will be successful in his expedition, while Eldred marches forward and takes the now lightly defended Dieterschafen to push the Norskins back once again out of the Empire.
Who calls?
Helmut von Rees has returned from his wounds. He is going to meet up with the Emperor to help reinforce his wounded army. Meanwhile, there is a lot of money to invest into Empire cities. Infrastructure needs to continue to be built up so that more and more forces can be maintained. The Emperor is ready to sail the rest of the way and do the first strike against the Norskins. He is able to take the Longship Graveyard. He decides, instead of razing it to the ground, as is his ultimate aim for most of Norska, he does need a base of operations to work from as he pushes deeper and deeper into Norskan territory. So these coastal settlements will work perfectly for that. He will take some time before pushing on. He will face greater threats, greater beasts as he moves further in. So he will take some time to recruit further soldiers.
What orders?
As he sinks more money into the reconstruction of the Empire. There's still a lot of dwarves that are in the Empire as well. He has not forgotten about them. They will need to be dealt with as soon as possible. The Emperor will need a little bit more time to recruit soldiers in, as well as Eldred is waiting for some more reinforcements to arrive. Salzman will continue to get investments so that the North does have a central hub, so that they don't have to go down to Reichland every time that they need to get elite reinforcements. Armies are sailing up the Great River, but Luen Leoncoeur's forces are right on their heels. Regardless, Balthasar Gelt is going to raise a bit of a force just in case. Duende and Chaos armies aren't able to reach them in time. There are orcs up in the northern reaches of the world as well. It's unknown if they are in league with the Norskins, but they have declared war on the Emperor.
I am Prince and Emperor.
Kislev continues to fall. There was once a little bit of hope, but it is getting eradicated slowly. Tsarina Katerin is still holding on, but hope is fading.
Praise Sigmar. The nation calls.
The Emperor decides that he does have enough forces gathered to start pushing out. The Norskins themselves are also trying to bring on more soldiers, and he doesn't want to give them the time to succeed at bringing enough to oppose him. Eldred as well is going to push out to get the last of these coastal settlements to have as a base to push further into Norska. Ralph Koch is also being brought back up in Salzenmund after his latest defeats in order to hold there and start building up a force soon to push into Kislev. Meanwhile, Balthasar Gelt is also bringing in some forces as there is a demonic army that has landed near Gorsel. And they do not trust that the Bretonnian armies will be able to deal with those before they are able to strike. The demonic army does in fact push forward to take Gorsel. Balthasar Gelt stands proudly trying to hold them off. He sends his outriders to try to distract the enemy as he stands with the rest of his army on a hilltop. His army does look paltry compared to the attacking force. He does try to use a leg to break up the forces just a little bit and hold one of his flanks, but he does not have a huge amount of hope that he will succeed. The demons do go across both sides of the lake in order to surround Balthasar Gelt's forces. He orders his soldiers at range to attack the great beasts of the enemy to try to bring them down, and trust that his magics will be able to deal with the chaff. Not too many of the enemies were distracted by his outriders, but some were, which every little bit helps. Though the Empire's front line doesn't exactly hold particularly well, and it immediately collapses, while the steam tank tries to hold that backside alone. And ultimately, the line simply collapses in its entirety. It is more or less a complete and utter massacre against the demonic hordes. And once again, an Empire city is going to fall. And Gorsel has been razed to the ground again. The wasteland simply cannot be rebuilt. It is the flashpoint of war, of destruction. Rupert is going to start marching down to try to resettle it. It seems that the Bretonnian forces are likely to catch up and deal with those demons, but for the rest of it, they will continue to push on. Eldred is going to go to Pack Ice Bay to claim that. The soldiers are going to try to weather the great storms that do exist up in the north. Emperor is also going to push forward. His soldiers beg him to camp and try to keep them warm, but he pushes ever on, as he knows that more Norskins and demons are pushing along Nordland. So he needs to move quickly on this expedition so he can turn his attention to Kislev. Ralph Koch is being given some forces in order to try to hold off best he can.
By Sigmar!
Great warrior priests are flocking to Sulzenmund in order to help Ralph.
Forge our faith. What do you require?
And a wizard is being also called forth from Altdorf. A lovely Jade Wizard to bring some healing.
Jade Wizard. Great treasures, come to me.
Theodric was considered for the role of bringing up a new army in Altdorf. However, Volmir von Raukov will ultimately get called upon, as he doesn't have the history of defeat. Volmir will have his opportunity to prove himself,
Sigmar's will.
or perhaps he also will not be given the opportunity to lead an army again in the future.
Who calls? Weapon practice?
Azazel does return to attack Norden. The garrison there simply is not strong enough to hold. It will fall easily. And the orcs come out and they are drawing the Nordic forces out as well. The Norskins are going to stand on the battlefield alongside the Greenskins, and the Emperor has a chance to wipe them out both at once and open up the next settlements to his conquest and have another region here as a home base to continue pushing out deeper and deeper into Norskin territories. The Emperor does find a nice spot along a river to hold with his magic, with his Hellstorm rocket batteries. He is confident that he can earn a great victory against the combined forces. He sent his cavalry along to the other side of the river while the enemy waited for their reinforcements, hoping that they can stay hidden in the woods and come back along the rear. They wait to launch their ambush. The enemy is none the wiser that they are watching their every move from the nearby woods. In the meantime, the Hellstorm rocket batteries do start launching their rockets, taking down as many of the enemy as possible before they engage. The Great Dragonspawn and Mammoths are going to be some of the great beasts that will decide this battle. The normal rank and fire of the Norskins won't be much trouble, but those great beasts are always a pain for the Empire soldiers to deal with. The Emperor charges right into the middle, trying to take down that mammoth, or at least tie it up so it can't actually reach the lines. However, he isn't quite able to draw its attention, but he does get the attention of a lot of the Norskins, trying to get the favor of their gods by slaying the Emperor of Man. And for their foolishness, they get a comet to the face. The Empire's crossbowmen are desperately trying to take down that mammoth, and with the clash of the lines, it's time for the cavalry to make their move. And ultimately, the Norskin and Greenskin forces start to flee before the cavalry can ever arrive. They're going to try to kill as many of them as possible, so that's the next battles in the settlement is as easy as it can be, so they don't have to try to refight those who are fleeing now. The Emperor does order all of the enemies to be executed. They do not deserve life, as all they want to do is sow chaos and destruction and mayhem across the world. Norden has been settled by Norskin raiders, while Azazel ponders his next move. But elsewhere in the Empire, Archaon has come forward to lay siege. But it does give Kislev a quick breather and a possibility of pushing back just a little bit. That ebb and flow constantly does remain. Unfortunately, the path ahead in Norska is open to Eldred, to the Emperor, and their base of operations will soon be entirely united so they can push deeper in. And Gorsel will need to be reclaimed, though the demonic horde is pushing on north as well to bring more destruction to the wasteland that will forever be a wasteland. I don't know why anyone still settles there, thinking that they'll be able to make a life for themselves. It just is not going to